So I'll set up here. Welcome, everybody. It's going to be a good one. It's content that we've sporadically gone through here and there, but we're really going to bring it all together and focus on the crux of what it takes to be successful in the role of sales. I mean, this is going to be as at the center of that conversation as you can possibly get. I'm pumped, quite frankly. Got some people coming through. Those that are here. Can you guys hear me okay? In the chat, you just want to drop a little Y in there if you can hear me. I would say a no if you can't, but if you can't, all of this is a waste of breath. Right? Looks like we got a lowercase y, so not an enthusiastic Y. That's okay. Ah, there we go. The old OK symbol. Love that one. There, now we got exclamation points coming through. Okay. Now, if you guys are anything like my wife, the ability to be able to hear me is actually counterproductive to you having a good day. But hopefully, I can up my game today based on all of the amazing things that has taught me in terms of emotional depth and empathy for other people, or whatever it is that she talks about. I really still don't understand it, but that's fine. Got about 3 minutes till 2. And then we'll give it another couple minutes. But we'll do a little sound check. How about that? See if we can do. Share appropriately. Right, now it's on there. All right, let's see. Can you guys hear this? I'm about to press play on this video. So if you guys can get your trigger fingers ready to again on the chat, yes or no. Let me know if you can hear this or not.
I lost everything. My company, my family. I still don't understand what killed that deal.
Were you guys able to hear that? Got it. More of the OKs. See, that's once you nail it, once you hit it with the OK symbol, you just got to keep using it. Go back to what works. I love it. Right. Today's going to be different. Today's going to be fun, guys. We are so far into being able to try to figure out how to improve rep performance that we see so much of where it falls down, and so often where it does fall down is we can come in and we can teach these concepts, but the concepts have to get simpler, too simplistic so that they don't work. But we have to bear the burden of complexity for you guys and really boil it down to the 20% that's going to get you 80% of the results. And in addition to that, we need to be able to present it in a way that's memorable, that allows you guys to remember these key concepts that we're going through here. Especially as you guys are going through and having dynamic conversations with human beings, it can be easy to forget this stuff, but that's really what we're trying to do with everything that we create. Today's going to be a little bit more in depth than that. So should be fun. We'll give it a couple more minutes here before we get started. And this is going to be one for the ages, guys. You know, I had to make sure we were pulling out all the stops because Chad's feeling under the weather. We got to cheer him up. We need to give him the optimism and excitement and joy of sales in his soul, you know, almost like chicken soup to make him feel better. And that's what we're going to try to do here today. Now, as you can see, I am not as good at entertaining you guys if I can't riff off of him, but I'm doing my best. That's all we can ask here. All right, we're going to get started here in T-minus 90 seconds. Got a good group piling in here today. Beautiful. All right. We're ready to go. Want to be respectful of your guys' time. So we're going to start this off, you know, just like any good substitute teacher would do when the teacher's out sick, like Chadwick is today. We're going to watch a movie to start. Okay. It's only going to be about 90 seconds and then we'll get into the content. So do not worry about that. All right. We'll go full screen on this. And we're going to start it all over again. And Zoom can be finicky about sound. So if you guys are not hearing anything, just let me know and we'll restart it. But this series is called The Sales Reaper. This is a trailer for that series. And this is ultimately about the 5 fatalities, the 5 things that are killing your guys' deals. There's only 5 things that kill our deals, right? And they are killed at the hands of the Sales Reaper, this mythical character, right? This shadow lurking out there, just waiting to pounce when we don't do the right things in the sales process, when we don't uphold what's called the code of commerce and make sure we get really clear on the 3 milestones. Do they absolutely need to take action? Do they absolutely need outside help? And are we the best solution to help them if so? So when we break that code, when we don't hit those milestones, right? Our deals fall apart. And why do they fall apart? Well, this is a mythical story all about that. And this is just an initial trailer.
I lost everything. My company, my family. I still don't understand what killed that deal.
He's lurking, and you act as if you don't care. You act as if it's not going to happen. He's killed before, and he's about to kill again.
I told you, they're called the 5 fatalities. It's all in the sacred sales texts. The first fatality is timing. The Reaper sows a seed of doubt in the prospect's mind that solving a problem isn't a priority right now. Once other priorities are moved ahead of it, the deal turns to dust.
Harper, should you be reading that? What if the Reaper finds out?
You cannot consider a cure until you fully understand the disease. It is you, Harper, the one with the fascination of death. You hold the fate of sales in your hands.
All right. So I assume y'all were able to hear that? See, without my counterpart, and he doesn't have his voice, so that's even worse, right? I'm just in here, I'm in this little fishbowl all by myself, like little Nemo, just trying to find my way in the world here. Everybody was able to hear that, though? Give me just one confirmation. Got it. That's all we need is one. Great. So guys, the key on this is These 5 things that are killing our deals, it's 5 fatalities. These are the things that are getting in the way. And if we know that those are the 5 things that are going to get in the way of us being able to help the people in our market finally solve the problems the way that they need to be solved, we have to avoid these fatalities. Just like Fitz said, you can't consider a cure until you understand a disease. And any sales process out there that has not been built off of fundamentally overcoming the key objections or the key reasons not to move forward, if it is not based off of that, it is inherently flawed. It is just theory and good feel stuff that has no strategic structure to ensure that you are overcoming those and getting more deals across the line. Okay, so that's what the 5 fatalities are. We're going to go deeper into those here today. Now, why are we going through this? Well, it's been going on for a while, but it's just been increasing. This has been a weird year, and that's fine. But essentially what we've got here is we've got a report from Salesforce, who works with all kinds of industries, roofing, the roofing industry included. They've gone through, they've done surveys and basically said that less than 30% of sellers and leaders expect their team to hit full quota this year. Now, this is worse than normal, but this is pretty typical. You know, normally it's about 50%, let's just say, give or take, ultimately end up hitting goal. And part of this is because of there's a poor structure for how we actually set targets. And Chad and I talk about this stuff all the time. With the sales magic trick, we have got to have a fundamental understanding of how our sales funnel operates, how we report out on that operational output of our sales organization, and how do we optimize and improve it so we can continue to meet the growing growth demands of our company. It's not okay if we produce, from a service perspective, 2 million this year, and the business comes back and says, based on our growth goals, you have to do 3, right? Or 4. Well, what are you going to go create a 50% increase in your lead flow? Like, if you could have done that, you already would have done that. What are you going to increase your conversion rate by 50%? If you could have, you would have. It's about all of the stages aggregately coming together. That's what gives us real control. And that's where, when it comes down to the operational side, a sales operation or a sales operational structure is what's absolutely critical for every business. And that is impacting this. But what's really also impacting this is the sellers not having the core tools that they need at their disposal to convert the leads that they should be converting. That's just a big deal. Okay. And it's ultimately what's killing pipeline performance. So as we go through this, guys, I want you guys to ask as many questions as you can. I got you guys typing your whys and your okays, right? I got you guys going on the keyboard. We got it warmed up. Feel free to get your questions in there. I'll keep my eye on the chat and I'll make sure I'm addressing them as we go through. But if it feels different, even a little bit, what about this? Or what about that? Let me know. Okay. And either Chad will hit it on the chat, or I'll cover it as we continue to go through the material. So to improve our results, guys, in a way that continues to meet the growth demands of our company, whether you're the CEO, whether you're the VP of sales, or whether you're an account executive, for us to be able to do that, we have to start knowing where and why our funnels are breaking down. Like I just said, this is a big thing. This is the order of operations is so critical. And that's why the 5 fatalities are so important, because like Fitz said, you cannot begin to understand the cure until you fully understand the disease. We want to understand it at a deep level. Why are our deals dying? I'm going to cover this probably 5 more times as we go through this, guys. I do not care. Chad and I do not care about any deals that you might be losing that are the extreme deals. David, how do I convert this one opportunity? They basically said, hey man, I was just instructed to go get 10 quotes or 5 bids. So that's what I'm here. We know who we're going to use. I just need more bids. How do you convert that guy? I don't care about how we convert that guy until you're converting the guys that you should have converted. We don't want these extreme cases. It's the ones in the middle, guys. It's the ones that you're losing that you know in your heart you could have helped, you should have helped. They know at some level that you probably could have helped, but our process got in the way and everything broke down. That's the difference between elite sales performance and subpar performance. It's that swath right there. And that's really where we want to focus on. And as we can continue to improve our process by taking the 5 fatalities and the thing that's killing those deals that are winnable, what we want to do is we want to identify who else isn't closing that should have and why. To what fatality? How do we improve our process, or how do we improve the execution of our existing process? And we continue to ask that. So there should theoretically be an unlimited conversion potential in every single sales organization that's running this strategy. Okay. Now we've been doing this at this level for almost 3 years now since we launched the technology, where it's really unlocked all of this stuff. And we are getting to new levels of conversion. Now, I don't know if that's going to forever be uncapped. I don't know if it's going to forever have an open ceiling for us to continue to drive up, or if eventually some of our clients will hit that ceiling. But hey, that's a much funner game to play than you guys automatically knowing that roughly for your team, 27% of all quotes that you send out are going to convert, or 42%, or whatever that static number is. And it's never getting better. And the only way to grow sales is to throw a ton of money at marketing or hire more salespeople, because it just kills our profitability. All right. So essentially, when we look at the goal here, we want to convert a higher percentage of the prospects that you guys know that you should be closing. But the problem in doing that, and the reason why we're not actually doing this, is because deals are dying for the same repeatable reasons over and over again. Okay. There aren't 100 different causes of death when it comes to our sales deals. There are 5. There always will be 5. There always have been 5. And we call them the 5 fatalities. And the magic in understanding the 5 fatalities is that as soon as you can identify that cause of death for any given deal, then and only then can you prevent it in the future. But more importantly, when you know that these are the potential causes of death in a deal, as that deal is going through its life cycle, you can work to try to prevent that from killing it. Okay, as we go through these concepts, maybe you mess up in discovery and one of these fatalities is still present. That's okay. When you go through for the proposal, you can go through and try to shore these areas up. Okay, this is how the medical profession has been working for hundreds of years. There's no reason why we shouldn't be working in the same way and in the same capacity. Okay. So by reverse engineering thousands of sales calls that didn't ultimately close really over probably the past decade, but again, specifically over the last few years, like I said before, we've been able to create these systems, playbooks, and tools to stop these 5 things from killing sales teams' results. And that's what we continue to come here every week and present on. Okay. And this is why we say that lost deals aren't the result of an economic downturn or some other external factors. Yes, that impacts some deals. But this is not black and white, guys. You can't paint a broad brush and say every deal that didn't close is because of the economy. Now, you could have when COVID happened and the whole world shut down. That's fine. But the typical economic downturn of the typical external factors that are out there, they might get in the way of some of the deals, but they are not getting in the way of all the deals that you're losing. Okay. But when we are leaning on these excuses, right? These excuses are simply indicators that we don't have control over the sales and revenue arm of our business. And that lack of control is killing your company's ability to grow and, sometimes even survive. So the truth is, our companies are losing deals every single month that they know they shouldn't be. Okay. But it's because we haven't equipped their sellers with the ability, the repeatable strategies, tools, and processes that they need to proactively disarm these deal killers. That's what No Reps Left Behind is all about. That's why we want you guys here every single week. That's why we want you guys to listen, take notes, and invest in yourself and start executing this stuff, because the results are unlimited on the other side. All right, so let's dive into the 5 fatalities. The first fatality, again, like they said in the video, is timing. Now, this fatality, based on our data, is what kills most of the deals. most deals out there. Out of all 5, this kills more, a higher percentage than all the other fatalities. Okay. The timing fatality is a belief, keyword belief, inside of your prospect that it's not the right time to invest or that other priorities take precedence. And this usually comes from a lack of pain clarity in your prospects. When we aren't able to help them get clear on the pain their problems are causing or will be causing in the future, we allow them to fall into inaction. Okay. Now we say that we allow them to because it's our job to take them through a process that helps them assess their real pain. And it's this pain that will determine if they need to take action now or not. We do a lot of coaching on the frame or the environment we're creating in the sales process. And you guys are going to hear us hammer on this stuff over and over again. We want to drill these core principles in your head. Are we creating an environment in our sales process that's like a date, or is it like a doctor visit? Our prospects don't have any interest in us courting them or dating them. But that's what most of us are doing. And it's no wonder that they're resistant to our questions, because they know we're asking these questions so that we can get them to be in a relationship with us. Our prospects are coming to us because their businesses are sick. They don't want to be courted. They just want to feel better, guys. Right? And as sellers, if we're lacking the playbooks and systems needed to create a plan of action that will help them do just that consistently, that's where there's a disconnect. Okay. If there is pain and emotion in your prospects, if there is, then we should be able to get to it every single time. When we don't, and we can't bring, and there's still a lack of clarity or ambiguity around the actual pain that all of this is causing, this allows our prospects to start rationalizing the very problems that they're going through. And that rationalization leads to avoidance. And that avoidance of their problems ultimately leads to no action on their part. And these are the emails that you guys get, letting you know that they're going to put this off till sometime in Q1 or Q2 when they get a new round of budget or whatever the thing is. Guess what? They very likely would have been ready if we could have shown up as a trusted advisor that they needed, and ultimately helped them through an effective buyer's journey. They got clear on their pain and held it right in front of them so that they could look at it. And they could really judge, do I really want to continue to deal with this? When we do that, they most likely would have acted because they're in our process for a reason. Usually this is a big enough problem for them to want to solve. Okay. This is one of the reasons why we say that lead quality is determined more by the sales rep than the marketing campaign or channel. When I was a rep and I was top of West Coast division at a Fortune 500 company and competing at the company level, the entire company level on the stack rankings every single month, my teammates were literally convinced that our manager was sending me all the good leads. They were crazy. We had a QC call, like we had an inbound system. There was no way to do any of that. My answer for them was, fine, send me your leads. I'll start converting them. I'll show you the quality of leads that you guys actually have. But it's the improper process that allows us to walk right into these issues that allows these deals to die. Okay. We got to get better. We got to start using this stuff. All of these dead deals or the majority of these the dead deals that come through our pipeline in a month and a quarter, they're preventable. All right. The second fatality is competition. Now, competition is the perceived superiority of another option's pricing or feature set, or potentially speed. All of you pretty much know this one, or do you? The competition the vast majority of us aren't considering is the internal resources or existing tools and vendors that the prospect already has at their disposal. And that's why we call this fatality the silent killer. So let's say that they do believe this is a problem to solve. This is a high priority. If prospects do believe that, and it's the right time to take action, and we crack open their pain, right? We get there. Ultimately, what's the fastest way for them to do it? Get off the call with us and call Bob, the maintenance man, and say, hey, dude, we got to get this thing figured out. Can you go up there and see what you can do? right? It's to use their existing resources. Call their existing roofer and say, hey, man, I know I haven't been happy with you guys because of what happened before, but I just need you guys to get out here. And maybe they even throw over our proposal to them. Say, hey, this is what another company figured out was wrong. Can you guys go fix this? Because the devil they know is better than the devil that they don't know in a lot of cases. Okay? So this is just lurking there in the background the entire time. The silent killer. It's competition. It's not the other company that we're bidding up against that they've never used before. That means it's product fit then. That means it's trust. If we have the right solution, we have the right solution. We're not competing against anybody. We have to differentiate ourselves from the competition and make it clear why we're better if this is the case. The real competition are these internal factors. And if we cannot help our prospects realize that they are incompetent in this area that's causing them pain, then we can't help them, because that incompetence is going to continue to run rampant. Now, from a buyer psychology perspective, this actually already has a name. It's called the Dunning-Kruger effect. The unskilled person thinks they are wise. Why? Because they have an adolescent understanding of what's going on within a certain realm or topic or subject. And that limited understanding makes them naive about what it takes to actually be really good in that area. Okay, so if we aren't able to help our prospects get clear on why their existing resources haven't been adequate enough to solve the problems that they're experiencing, we leave them to believe they somehow can be. But guess what, guys? If they coulda, they woulda, because their current resources can't solve the actual problems causing their pain, and that's why they're talking to you. But again, most sellers don't have a repeatable way to help our prospects understand this. They don't know it. They think they are wise. Now, if our process could help them to be wise about the lack of ability in their existing resources to solve the problem, then they're left alone and in need of a new solution. But instead, we end up pitching our solution to prospects who never intend to choose a new solution, ultimately wasting everybody's time. And then only to see our pipeline go up in smoke, go up in flames at the end of the month, because we're just getting crickets. They did something about it in October. They just didn't do something about it with us. They did it on their own. All right. As we continue to go through these, guys, fire off some questions here on this. Now, when it comes to the competition aspect of things, you guys have to realize, and this is to a very specific question that we just got through, the frame is what's most important. So the question is, what if they don't want to tell us about their existing roofer? Guys, usually when they don't want to give us this information, it's because we set up a courtship-like frame. We've set up a date-like frame. And they don't want to give us that information because they feel like we're going to use it to manipulate them into doing what we want them to be, which is be in a relationship with us. And they don't want to be in a relationship with us. They want to solve their problems. So what I'm going to encourage you guys to do is change the frame. Stop saying thank you to people. Very weird one, but I say it all the time. As soon as you say thank you to somebody for hopping on a call, who's in the position of authority? They are. Does your doctor ever say, hey, David, see you got the flu. Thanks for coming in? No. I say thank you to him. Thank you for seeing me. This is that influence. It's that status. Create that doctor-like environment, like we use in that in the analogy. If you went on a date and somebody said, the first question they asked you was, so David, do you have health insurance? If so, what kind? You would immediately be like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm not answering this question. This is weird. If you go to a doctor's office and the very first question that they ask you is, do you have health insurance? If so, what kind? It's a completely normal question to ask. Okay. Change that frame and you'll start to change your results. Change that frame and you'll start to get more direct answers from your prospects. Make sure that you're creating a buyer-focused experience and stop trying to hit your quota, and you'll help more people solve their problems and your quota will take care of itself. Okay, so Chad's got a really good question here. As you guys are thinking through all this, who on here is thinking about a proposal that's dying, in the process of dying, to one of these right now? What is that fatality? Put it in the chat and we can start helping you guys through it, right? The deal is not dead. If it's still on the table, we still have the opportunity to be able to go through and resuscitate it, guys. Okay, so if it's in process, leverage us. We're here to help you. All right, so timely fashion. Thank you, kind sir. Somebody dropped in that price has been an issue for a few of their deals. Right on time. I will Venmo you that $20 when we get off here. But okay, we'll move on to fatality 3, which is price. Okay, now this fatality is responsible for killing your deals when prospects feel. Okay, and I'm going to talk about this a lot. Feelings over facts. When your prospects feel your offering is too expensive or beyond their budget. But expensive when compared to what? Other quotes? That's a race to the bottom on price. That's a beeline to discounting. Most prospects feel that our solution is too expensive because we have not executed a process that puts our price in context of bigger numbers. Okay? And because our sales process lacks this, our prospects are allowed to fall into a very common psychology trap. Again, guys, we're going to talk about the seller, but we are really going to lean into buyer psychology here. This is the way our buyers are thinking. This is the way you guys think when you're buying stuff. We're just not aware of it. Okay. This very common psychology trap is, in the absence of information, human beings are designed to make up their own. We are literally designed to fill in any gaps of information as we're trying to make sense of any situation. So before you ever get to pricing, your prospects will have some number or range they're expecting to see from you. And I can guarantee you, all of our call reviews and deal reviews have shown it. All of our data shows it. Rarely will they expect your solution to cost as much as it does. Rarely are they expecting it to be more expensive than the price you laid out. And sometimes when that happens, if the price is lower, they actually think that they misunderstood it and they don't see as much value in it anymore. It's a problem on both sides. Now that's a rare case, but most of the time they always think it's going to be cheaper. Right? And once this happens, you're now reacting to someone with price objections who doesn't see the value in what your company offers because you didn't prime them and desensitize price. We call it the price objections trinity, very specifically. That's in our content, in our coaching content, in our video library. There are 3 very clear things every sales process needs to execute on during the sales process, and you'll never get a price objection again. One of those things is ROI. It's a big one, guys. ROI is huge. The other one is problem reframes. Bigger problems require more complex solutions at a higher price. If you allow them to see that this is a simple problem that needs a simple solution at a low price, you've set yourself up for failure and price resistance. Okay. But when we can be equipped with these tools, we can now flip it. We now have control over it. But it's really painful, guys, when we don't have control. This is when we go back to our leader, or this, if you guys are, or for the leaders that are on here, that's when we have our reps come back and say, our pricing is just too high, right? We're not competitive enough in the market. We need to figure out how to drop this. That again, that's a beeline to lack of profit, lack of profitability and shrinking margins. It's not a recipe for success for any business. And it all could have been prevented. Okay. So MT, with the price issues, those are 2 of the things that you can focus on. As we go through No Reps Left Behind, we talk about this stuff continuously. That ROI calculation that gives them, hey, this is the bigger number. This is the number that will actually, you'll be able to avoid, or you'll be able to produce if this problem gets solved. If not, it's going to cost you this much. It's going to cost you money either way. Which one do you want it to cost you? Does it cost you with a slip fall hazard? Does it cost you with the lack of productivity from your team? Does it cost you with lack of production, ruined product in a warehouse, whatever that is. It's going to cost you either way, but we can take the ramifications and cost of that. Our price is now in context. The bigger problems that they're experiencing, needing more complex solutions to be able to solve their actual problem, that'll raise it up. So we're going to continue to talk about this week over week. MT, doing some initials there. MT. In those sessions, keep your ears perked up, and we're going to go through it at length. But okay. Fatality number 4, trust. Now, trust kills our deals when our prospects are skeptical about the salesperson or the company's credibility. We think they care so much about our solutions, guys, and they do not. They really don't. They care more about our past track record of solving the very problems that they're dealing with. Why? Buyer psychology is back, because our past outcomes are the greatest predictor of our future successes. No one wants to be the guinea pig. Nobody wants to be the one to work with a company who's still trying to figure it out, right? Or maybe you're a growing company. You've got these new subs and they don't know how to do it. Whatever the situation is, okay? And the vast majority of companies are not establishing their credibility during the sales process. We've done a ton of surveys with potential buyers on this, and it's clear. They told us this is one of the first things that they need to have confidence in. Now, for proof on that, look at your own behavior. When you're on Amazon or any other e-commerce site, whatever that looks like, do you look at the product description first or the reviews? The vast majority of people look at the reviews first. And once it's clear, if it's clear that the product has a track record of positive buyers who have had positive experiences and reached the outcomes that they want, then you'll go in and read the product description. But quite frankly, I don't believe the majority of those product descriptions until I know that there's a solid track record with a lot of reviews between 4 and 5 stars. They can type whatever the hell they want in there. Then I buy it and I bear the brunt of getting it, and it's hard to put together, or it doesn't work, or whatever the thing is, right? This happens all the time. So think about your sales process right now. Where do you deliberately, in every single deal, establish your credibility as a company, as a service provider, your results, your track record? If it's not in there, you got to fix it. And we go through this stuff in these weekly sessions all the time. Chad and I have been doing this for, man, it's been what, close to a year? That's probably why you've lost your voice, because we've been doing this thing for so long. But we go through it time and time again. And the companies that are taking action on this stuff are removing these fatalities. They're not killing their deals anymore. Okay, but for any of you that aren't applying it, or if you don't know how to apply it, if you're involved in our programs, let us know. We'll help you. If you're not involved in our programs, get involved in our programs. All right. So we have to understand that understanding that our buyers and delivering what they need in the process to help them solve their biggest problems is what's absolutely critical. Okay. But again, unfortunately, the majority of sales departments are too busy trying to hit their quota to worry about what their buyers really want. They're more fascinated and enthused about whatever service offering they have instead of really caring about what their buyers want. We are a means to an end for our buyers. They do not care about us if they could fix their problems a different way. I promise you that. Okay. All right. Now, the final fatality here, product fit. This is where we really talk about competition. You shouldn't be dealing with competition. The internal stuff, yes, not external competition. But we end up dealing with it when there is a lack of understanding by our prospects on whether or not our offering meets their perceived needs or solve their perceived problems. And we say perceived because most salespeople aren't getting alignment with their prospects on the bigger problems to solve that are actually causing their pain. Great presentations are created, great solutions, great proposals are created by good discovery and diagnosis. Our solution and its features only matter if they solve the actual problems our prospects are suffering from. But again, unfortunately, we get so excited and ramble on and on about our solution, the solution that we love and believe in. I'm not discrediting that. That's why we love working for the companies that we work for. Okay. But we have to understand by doing this, we're confusing the heck out of our prospects. And from a psychological perspective, from a buyer psychology perspective, the confused mind cannot act. Our prospects are not experts in the areas they're experiencing the most pain. Far from it, they're actually incompetent in the areas that are causing them the most pain. So as you drop all the technical terms and show them all the latest and greatest innovations for what it is that you guys do, their eyes are basically glossing over because they don't want our stuff. They want to solve their problems. And as we go on, pitching our crap to them, and I know we love what we do in the company that we work for, but ultimately it's just freaking crap. And we're spewing all these words at them. They ultimately have no context on how those things are actually going to get them to their desired outcome. We are causing our prospects paralysis, not their own indecision. So easy to blame them. Oh yeah, that dude's just, that dude's just indecisive. No, he's not indecisive. Sorry, I'm fat fingering things over here. They're not indecisive. We haven't allowed them to get clear on the decision that they actually need to make. Okay. And it is our inability to be able to do that, to have an effective plan of action that shows them exactly what they need to do to solve the biggest problems, causing them the most pain and keeping them from important outcomes. That is what's keeping our prospects from moving forward with us. It's not external conditions, guys. It's not these other companies. It's our own flawed strategy and execution. And we have to get better. And again, going back to the uncapped sales potential, you should be able, as an organization, as an entire team, be able to continue to evaluate the calorie burn, how hard it is for your prospects to understand the consistent presentation that your team is delivering to everybody, to all of your prospects. And you find those areas and you refine it and you make it simpler and you make it simpler and you make it simpler. And then you make it more powerful and you make it more powerful. And I can promise you, the sales shops that are looking at that and looking at doing that every week, every other week, 26 to 52 times a year, it is an unbelievable difference up against the competition who is maybe doing it once a year with no data, with no foundational strategy, probably changing things that worked. Oh God, it's a nightmare. This iterative process allows you to build a world-class sales process because you're starting from a foundation and continuing to improve it in a way that eliminates these fatalities. This is always the goal. And then in doing that, you should see that reflected in your numbers, in your pipeline. You should be getting more conversations to meetings, more meetings to quotes, more quotes to sales, higher average amount per sale, shorter sales cycle. All these metrics should be improving as you guys are making these optimizations. So much fun. Man, it's so much more fun than the Wild West world that the majority of sellers are living in, guys. Can't even begin to articulate it to you. Okay. All right. So let's go into the solution. We talked about this again in all of our other sessions. We're not just here trying to make you guys feel nauseous about the deals that you've lost for these preventable reasons. You could have gotten it. It happens. I went through a ton of that. Actually, with a friend of mine, he told me a story about a $30 million deal that he lost. It was a round of funding. And he lost because of the fatalities. He knows about this stuff. He came through and said, dude, it was because of these two. $30 million deal, guys. He didn't sleep for weeks. I mean, this stuff is real and it's hard, but it's beautiful if we learn from. And I've lost a ton of sales over the past 20 years as well, right? It's like Michael Jordan says, it's through those losses that I got better. It's through those things that Chad and I have gone through that we figured this stuff out to be able to present to you to here today. So here's the solution, guys. These are the 3 milestones. These are the questions you need to have in your mind the entire sales process. There's only 3. Because I love you guys, if I could, I would be that person on your shoulder every once in a while, just whispering, what are the 3 milestones? Pop quiz. What are the 3 milestones? Because if you guys do not memorize these and you're not actively trying to get these questions answered in the sales process, and because these aren't getting answered, your deals are susceptible to the 5 fatalities and you're losing them when you shouldn't. Okay, so we're going to run through these again. I want you guys to remember these. All right. Milestone 1, must they take action? We have to determine if the problems that led them to engage with us are causing enough pain to make them an urgent priority. Now, the great thing about this is if they weren't a big priority, then they probably wouldn't be talking to you to begin with. But the majority of your deals, the problem is big enough. They do need to take action against it. We just need to pull out why, so that when that ever-evolving priority list or list of fires to address comes up in their mind, they keep this at the top. Instead of it's frustrating the hell out of me today, but by next week, A, B, C, and D fire came up, and yeah, I'm going to deprioritize the old roof issue. I'm going to go deal with this other stuff. Because we didn't help them get really clear on, do they need to take action or not? And again, the great thing about this is a doctor visit, not a date. We're not trying to convince them that they need to take action. We're trying to figure out if they need to take action with them. And if at any point they've got any problem with our questions, we can always back up and say, hey, look, I can sense some resistance here, Chad. Right? And Chad doesn't ever give anybody resistance. He's just a hell of a nice guy. But let's just say he did. I can tell there's some resistance here, Chad. I just want to understand. I just want you to understand here. I'm trying to figure this out because I talk to a lot of people who are dealing with roof issues, and this isn't actually something that they need to worry about yet. This isn't, there's other problems that they should go solve. And I'm just trying to figure that out with you. So we know that we're working with the right person. And I also want you to know that. So if this isn't the biggest problem, you and I can revisit this 3 to 6 months from now. This is for you. Now, again, their actions led them to actually talk to us. So most likely it is a big enough problem. We just got to get there. We have to unpack it. We have to answer this question. Now, what we do in a lot of our sessions, guys, we'll have a rep come up on a team. They'll bring up a sales form in 45, be like, okay, here's what's going on with the deal. And it's immediate question. You have to prove to a jury of your peers, your teammates, you have to prove to us why this person needs to take action. And it has to be documented because the prospect needs to know it, right? And that's a great litmus test. It's a great way to see, like, did we actually get to it or not? So you guys can use your teammates in this stuff, right? Grab your buddy, grab a couple of them. Guys, can you take a look at this? Can you guys see why this person needs to take action based on the information that I have here that I'm aligned with them on? And if they're like, not really, or I don't get this, what does this mean? What does this mean? It's a bunch of clarity. It's a bunch of confusion that we have in actually getting this question answered. And there can be no assumptions, guys. I love it with that. Well, yeah, no, they have to take action because this, and that. And all I do is point at the screen. I don't see that. Well, yeah. If we don't have it here, did they say it? Or did you make a bunch of assumptions around it? Chad talks about it all the time. That's where 2 degrees of separation over time creates a huge gap between our understanding and our prospects. Stop assuming. Figure it out. Repeat it back to them. Get clear. Okay, so you guys absolutely need to take action on this. Is that right? Yes. Bam. Milestone 1. All right, milestone 2. If they do need to take action, must they seek external help? We need to determine if their current resources are sufficient in solving the problem without outside help or new outside help if it's an existing vendor. We have to attack it. Okay. Now, we don't do it in a way that makes people feel like we're attacking either their internal employees or an existing vendor that they have some sort of relationship. You don't do it that way. There's a very specific process that we teach through every single week when you guys come in here on how you can actually very clearly ask questions that get to the root of this. It's not passively, it's not aggressively, it's just questions just like a doctor would ask. Okay? But we have to figure this out. Again, I talk to people all the time. They got to solve this issue on the roof, but man, their existing resources are actually okay. They do have some confidence in them. They're just kind of looking around a little bit. That's okay if that's what you're doing. I just want to understand that. If that is the case, where I do want to understand why they haven't been able to fix it up until this point. We can do that. We can get them clear on 2 extremely important things. Do they need to act, and do they actually need outside help? Because what kills the vast majority of presentations is when you're delivering a proposal to determine if you have the best solution, and that person is thinking to themselves, oh, man, these guys, this is going to be expensive. Do we even need to do this? Maybe we'll just put this off till next year. Guess what? When they're doing that, they're not listening to you. Or when they're listening to your proposal and you're flipping through your PDF and they're just like, man, I wonder if Bob can actually figure this out. God. Chat over there at Acme Roofing. He's not that bad. I need to give him another shot. He just emailed me. We should just see if he can figure this out. They're not paying attention to you. We need focus. You're going to act on this and you're going to choose a new solution. So pay attention. Now, here are the bigger problems causing your pain. Here's our solution, and we're going to clearly connect the dots. This is what we do. This is how it solves your problem. This is what we do. This is how it solves your problem. And we're reducing the caloric burn that it takes for our prospects to understand how we're going to help get them to the other side. We as companies, we as salespeople, we have to bear the burden of complexity. Do not push the complexity of our solution onto your prospects. They will not deal with it. They will move on. Okay. We're designed to not burn calories. So we're actually designed to lose attention and start focusing on something else when something gets too complex. Our terrible teachers in grade school and high school were not made aware of this, by the way. And that's why the vast majority of us probably didn't do too well in school, because of their terrible teaching. But I digress. Do we have the best solution? Okay. We need to determine if our solution will clearly solve their bigger problems, causing them the most pain. And we are going to drive them to a decision. We're not going to pressure them. We're going to drive them to a decision now. They need to take action. They need outside help. Here's what we can do. Are we the right solution or not? Yes or no? And sometimes it might be yes, and I have to go talk to somebody else about this. Or yes, and I'm meeting with 2 other companies that I've already scheduled meetings with. But I think you guys would be a great option. Okay, then let's dive in on that. You need to drive them to an answer on this. Maybes are killing sales all over the place. Maybes are like little cuddly blankets that our prospects love. Because as long as I say maybe, I'm kind of solving it, but I'm not taking any risk. It's that in between where they love to stay. All right, so the key is we need to diagnose which fatalities are causing the biggest drop in conversion and which milestone you need to be working on the most. And that's why we've got the sales fatality postmortem. Okay, because when we can determine which milestones aren't consistently being hit, we can do that. We can identify which fatalities are causing it. So we have this postmortem form. We'll figure out a way how to get this into your guys' hands, because there's a bunch of different people that are on here from different channels and different sources, but we'll get this into your hands. But it's simple. We can create help where we can ultimately help any sales rep in any organization create immediate improvement in their results, because there's usually low-hanging fruit. There's easy problems to solve. These fatalities, you guys already know. 1 or 2 of these fatalities that are just killing deals that shouldn't be falling into closed lost, and there's low-hanging fruit things to go implement. It's just such an easy way to get started. But by understanding these critical concepts, ultimately what Chad and I want to do is we want to empower you guys, every sales rep, every sales department, every sales leader, to take control of their sales and revenue producing machine. If you can do an audit of the deals of your closed lost deals over the last 30 to 60 days, and in here we'll have a decision tree for you that'll show you to your knowledge, go through this, and it'll tell you which fatality is most likely the cause. You tally those up in the lost deals section, and from there you look at the milestone and the correlative training that we go through here and in our course, and bam, you know exactly where to focus your training, right? Where does your continuing education go? Where does your development time go? Which milestone should you be crossing more often with your prospects? Which fatality should be dying, and what impact should that have on your deals? If every 30 days you're getting 4 or 5 deals that you're losing to, like MT said, price, we should be getting 3 of those, 2 to 3 of those, maybe not all of them, but 2 to 3 of those you should start closing. We'll add 2 to 3 more to your average sales number every single year. Do that with the next fatality. Just like that, you can add 4 to 5 sales. Depending on your average in service, I can add anywhere from $30,000 to $40,000 of additional sales, $500,000 over the course of a year. It's that easy, guys. It's that simple. I'm trying to give you guys all of these tools. These are really revolutionary tools, guys. This is all bleeding edge, cutting edge sales stuff. Nobody else is talking about this stuff. It's all that same theoretical crap. It's all, how do you handle the objection once it bubbles up? As soon as that objection is there, you are now trying to convince them to change their mind and do something they don't believe to be the right thing. How stupid is that? And I apologize. We've all done it. So I'm talking to myself too. But how dumb are we to think we can do that to our prospects? Proactively overcome these things, proactively avoid these fatalities before they ever bubble up in your process. And you are going to find your win rate starting to continually rise every month, every quarter, as you identify the next subset, the next fatality, whatever it is, and continue to work on either the improvement of your process or the improvement of your execution of that process. Oh, it's such a beautiful thing. I wish I could just transmit this into all of your guys' brains. I know I'm on the other side of it. I see the promised land on sales. I understand you guys are in the crux of it and how frustrating it can be, but there really is a better way on all this stuff, guys. So you just have to follow it. All right. So that's all we got today. I am very much about stopping on time. If we've got Q&A, we've got 8 minutes to be able to go through some Q&A. You guys can throw out some potential scenarios, potential issues that you guys might be dealing with. Any questions that you have about any of this? Again, we will not name names. No question is a stupid question. All of this is here to support you guys. That's why Chad and I do this. We care very deeply about the sales profession itself and all of you guys, all of us who are brave enough to go into it and really, put our commission dollars, our ability to be able to provide for the people that we care about on the line to help companies meet payroll, keep the lights on, continue to grow. We're a unique group for sure. And too often though, the person that has to ultimately bear all of that stress is you guys, unfortunately. And that's not cool. It's not cool to say, hey, here's your quota, go figure it out. Nah, never. You should have a goal and you should have a clear strategic plan on how you're going to hit that goal. You should have a clear set of tools at your disposal for every prospect that you're talking to, every opportunity that you're working that you can leverage to move them through the pipeline at the rate and at the conversion rate that you need to be able to hit your goals every month and every quarter. Okay, this should be a minimum standard. This is what we're trying to bring to all you guys. Love it. Yes, everyone needs to say one proposal this week. How can we help you guys do that? We call it halftime, guys. Once you guys go through discovery and diagnosis before you go on to the solution presentation, the proposal phase, you can back up and look at the deal and say, man, do they absolutely need to take action based on the information that I've got here? Do they absolutely need outside help? Or their existing resources okay? You can look at that and say, where do I have gaps here? Let me write down some questions. Let me get prepared for this proposal. When you hop on there, it's very easy. Chad, how you doing? Yeah. Good. Weather okay? Blah. Good. Ready to hop in? Yep. Okay, great. Hey, I was thinking about you guys over the weekend. Think about what you guys are dealing with. That a couple of questions for you before we hop into the proposal. Is that okay? Hold on. You were thinking about me? You're trying to help me? You were thinking about how I can solve my problems? You were doing that? Sure. Absolutely. Fire away. I have a hard enough time solving my problems. If somebody wants to help me do that and you're thinking about me over the weekend to do that, that's awesome. What do you got? So you said typically Bob is, the one that's going to get on the roof and try to solve these leaks. Why do you think he hasn't been able to get this done so far? Maybe you missed that question. Maybe you just didn't get there. Maybe you forgot. Get the answer then. But when you guys come here, every single week, you have the opportunity to look at your deals, look at where there are gaps, and you've got me and Chad here for you guys. I mean, I don't know if there's any other environment, Chad, where people have access to combined close to 40 years of sales experience. And between the both of us, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of converted transactions. I mean, it's just an excellent opportunity, guys, and we want you guys to leverage it. This is not about us because again, we've only gotten here because we've been stupid enough and hard-headed enough to keep going until we figured it out, right? So I'm not tooting our horn by any stretch of the imagination, but I do want you guys to know you guys do have two people here that care deeply about you guys and want you guys to succeed. And we want your questions here. If you don't use this resource every single week and bring your questions, you're only impacting yourself and your pipeline, right? The people that do need your company that you can't get over. That's where the loss is. So what questions do we have? Do we have any questions? I feel like I'm going to be the auction man. Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Whatever. Question here, question there. Anybody? That's okay. All right, guys. Here we go. Taking over a few deals from a rep that left a few months ago. Okay. Taking over at halftime. Great. Okay. So when you're taking over deals from another rep, guys, sometimes we're taking over deals from a rep who were underperforming, let's say. Okay. So whatever information is in the CRM, whatever's going on, we want to ensure that we're taking that with a grain of salt, because most of the time people were underperforming because they were not doing a good job of getting the information that they need. Okay. Now, if it was a really good rep, and let's say they just left for a different company or they got promoted or whatever the thing is, if the notes are in the CRM or whatever other system you guys are using, you want to take that information, you want to butt it up against the 3 milestones. Well, not actually the 3, just the first 2, because you're not at proposal phase. You're right at halftime. Okay. So based on that information, do they absolutely need to take action? Based on that information, do they absolutely need outside help? Now, my guess is that information is going to be unclear. So what you want to do is when you go into that proposal call, you need to have a strategy already set up. Just like I said, however you guys are introducing yourselves, however you're explaining the change in account ownership, whatever that might look like. Okay. As you're going in there and you're explaining that, then you're transitioning over and say, okay, so here's what I understand about the deal. Is all that correct as it aligns to what we've talked about here? The milestones and the buyer's action plan. If it is, okay, great. I had a couple of other questions if I could ask you, and have a strategy based on the buyer's action plan that we give you guys every single week here. What are the questions that I need to ask? So what is the process that you guys typically go through, in buying something like this? Might be, have you guys gotten other proposals or other bids on this? What are they recommending? Do you agree with it? Do you not? Whatever the questions are. But give yourself a game plan to go in and execute. It's literally just like at halftime. You're going to go on the whiteboard and you're going to draw this out, and then you're going to come out of it, and then, right? Everybody else coming out of halftime. How did they allow that to happen? Because you had time to get prepared. So get prepared with those deals. Look at the information that you have in the system, butt it up against the 3 milestones, and come up with your game plan on how, after you explain the transition in account ownership or op ownership, here's the information that I have. This is what I understand it to be. And don't bloviate. You're not here to read them their life story. Summarize. Don't bore the hell out of them repeating, being a dictation device that's just repeating everything back to them. Give them that short summary and then say, okay, hey, I actually have a couple of other questions as well, just to make sure that we're all on the same page. You okay with that? Sure. Boom, 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 boom. And then you're leading into the proposal. All right. So that question was from, we're going to call him AA. First step is to know that you have a problem. Those words from AA. Was that helpful? Perfect. You're very, very welcome. All right, guys, we had 10 seconds left. Now it's over. AA got his questions answered. We're at time now, though. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much for being here. We will see you guys next week, and we're going to continue to dive into the process to execute to prevent these fatalities, guys. Sales success is going to be, it has been since you guys started coming to these, and it will continue to be in your hands. Thank you guys for coming. Thank you for attending. And until next week, let us know what you need. Let us know how we can support you. See you guys.